just like my buddy Billy said, where's it going? Nowhere. We had it strapped down. The strap up here on the tongue didn't work out. It actually broke about halfway home. We had the sides up though, and that kind of squeezed it in, so even if it wanted to roll forward or backwards, it really couldn't. And it also had the straps on the axles here. Chrissy's actually taking the one off on the other side, and I'm about to take this one off so we can get this thing unloaded. Hey everyone, I'm sorry. The battery in the camera actually died when we were in the middle of unloading this. It is all unloaded, as you can obviously see here. Everything went pretty well on that. Now I'm sure some of you are wondering, why did we buy a different manure spreader? The other one worked fine, no issues with it. And you're right, there wasn't, except it would still leave clumps occasionally, and I don't want that. This is a beater system with also a fan at the very bottom of it. This makes it to where we don't have to worry so much about those clumps. It will spread it out far better, and you're gonna see it in future videos. The other thing that was a big and kind of a big deciding factor was these tires. These are much larger flotation tires than the very thin, narrow tires. Like the other tires are actually more narrow than the front tires on our 7000 there. They're just not very big. They don't distribute weight well. It's kind of one of those things that I don't wanna leave ruts. I wanna do my best to not leave ruts. So I want to do my best not to leave ruts, because when I rut up my field, I have to fix it later. So that was the other thing that kind of drove those were the two factors that drove this upgrade. Now, the downside to it is this manure spreader, while it is physically larger, capacity-wise, it's actually a little bit smaller. This one holds about 242 bushels, whereas our other one held 290 something bushels. And you know, you look at it in tons. So like the other one was basically carrying around 7 tons of manure with us, whereas this one is only carrying about 6. So it's one of those things of what are you going to do and what do you think is going to work best for you? I think this is going to work better. Plus I could use this to spread lime if I wanted to, and that would save me some money whenever I have because right now I have other folks that spread that lime for me. Where we did have a lot of problems was actually right here. There are 2 bolts on this side right here. They go through a, we'll call it a bushing support, and then there's 2 more right over there on the other auger. I'm going to show you why we had such a headache. Now these, well, again, they're bushings that are right there. Those black pieces inside of there, that's the actual like a nylon bushing. And then of course the red on the outside is the metal bushing. Like I said, we'll call it support. I'm not exactly sure what the real title of it is, but those things are kind of expensive, and we had to replace both of them. Don't mind the trash in there. I accidentally dropped some stuff in there. Now those things are like, it was like $758 to get those 2 pieces with the nylon bushings. That $758 actually also included that bushing right there for the very end of the top auger. They were all worn and needed replaced. These auger supports were by far the worst, because like this side was actually missing the top and had no nylon in it whatsoever. The other side had the top on it, but there was no nylon in it whatsoever. So it was just rubbing on the metal of the bushing support for the auger. Terrible. So long story short though, it is fixed up now. It was a mess. And no, I did not record it. I actually had to have a friend come over here. We had to heat that, the other one up. We had to cut it off, and we had to drive it out the bottom. It was a real pain. But it's done, and now you're gonna get to see it in action. Outside of those minor repairs, well, I guess they're minor, but they're major repairs. There's a few other things that are needed to be repaired on this. So this tire specifically, you can see it has a lot of cracks in it. It is very dry rotted, and I also think that that tire is a different size than the one on the back. These are 16.5 by 16.1, and I'm not sure what size that one is because it just says Titan on it, but I don't see a size anywhere. So more than likely it's gonna have to be replaced at some point, but it's gonna be fine for now. The next thing that needs replaced or rebuilt or addressed at least is this hydraulic cylinder. This hydraulic cylinder controls my gate, lifts it up and down, and it does need to be fixed because it leaks terribly. This side, all the grease fittings worked well. You know, the same situation with the tire. That one's got a lot of dry rotting on it, but this one's actually a relatively new one, just like on the opposite side. Everything is pretty decent. Everything in here is pretty decent. All the chains are in okay shape. I mean, there's nothing that sticks out saying like, oh, this definitely needs addressed. I would say the previous owner did grease everything, but he did mention that the bearings were out on the auger before I bought it. I didn't realize that they were as expensive as they were. I didn't think they would be, but hard lesson learned there. The repairs, for the most part, I knew kind of what I was getting into with the bearings being out. He did tell me that the top bearing was out on the auger. He didn't really mention the ones that were on the bottom two augers, but obviously once I got in there and realized it, we needed to fix it. Yeah, it is what it is, but we're good to go, and you're gonna see it in the field here in probably another video or two. So just a quick recap, because we do have a lot more subscribers lately, and I want kind of everybody to understand, we are a very small farm. We are a first generation farm. We're 7 years in. My wife and I both still work off the farm. I'm about to retire from the Army here in about 1.5 years. My wife is a school teacher. She still will be when I retire, but when I retire, this is my plan, is to farm full time. We are not a very big channel. You already know that. And that's why we buy old equipment like this that we can fix and use for a while. The old manure spreader was still good to go, still working well. We just wanted one with beaters, and we'll be able to show you how well it works on the new videos. I'll find some old ones to compare it. It should be less lumpy, and it should distribute the manure in a far more even manner. Moving on though, this is the end of the video. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a blessed week, and we will see you next time. Remember, if you're going to talk about somebody, talk to God about them.